President Trump now saying he'll make a decision about whether the U.S. will take action in Iran within the day was new hospital you see hit by an Iranian missile and the building shredded apart as staff raced to get patients out. Iran firing missile after missile, one hitting several Tel Aviv high-rises. And the IDF sharing this video, they say, shows them taking out Iranian nuclear threats. There are still questions about how close Iran really is to a nuclear weapon. What we know for sure, the bombing is not stopped. Richard Engel and his team tonight showing us the A new video shows the direct Iranian ballistic missile on the biggest hub in southern Israel. Inside, staff and patients run for cover. Parts of the ceiling caving in. Smoke filling the hallways. And this is where the missile impacted. It went right through the hospital's roof and sent out this strike. There were no deaths or serious injuries reported. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said the hospital strike proved Iran's intentions.
They're targeting civilians because they're the arch terrorists of...
Israel's defense minister claimed the order to strike the hospital came directly from Iran's supreme leader. This man absolutely should not continue to exist, he said. Iran claims it was targeting a military site near the hospital. NBC News has confirmed the hospital is within a mile of an Israeli military intelligence compound. Israel says Iran launched dozens of missiles today towards civilian centers. Most intercepted, one hitting a residential area in Tel Aviv. High-rises damaged.
We have 5 buildings that were hit.
Israel is continuing its attacks in Iran, targeting the nation's nuclear program and military. New video showing smoke near Tehran's police headquarters. And these images of an heavy water which Iran announced it had planned to restart. Joins us now live. So, Richard, we're now into day 7 of these Israeli strikes and Iran's missile barrage. What is Israel's endgame here?
Well, Tom, Prime Minister Netanyahu says the goal of this entire operation eliminate Iran's nuclear threat, get rid of its missile. Now they're also talking about getting rid of the supreme leader. In terms of what comes next, Israel isn't being very saying that would be up to the Iranian people. Tom.
Richard Engel leading us off tonight. Richard, thank you. Now to Washington, where President Trump is saying he wants more diplomacy. Is at the White House.
The world awaits President Trump on whether to order a U.S. airstrike targeting Iran's program.
I have a message from the president, and I quote, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks.
European diplomats are expected to meet with Iranian officials tomorrow in Geneva. The White House says any deal with Iran would have to include a ban on enriching uranium, a demand Iran has so far refused.
There's a chance for diplomacy. The president's always going to grab it, but he's not afraid to use strength as well.
The 2-week time frame, one the president often uses, from peace talks with Russia,
I'll let you know in about 2 weeks,
to trade negotiations with China.
At some point in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going to be setting the deal.
Now he's stressing why he's considering a U.S. airstrike under the Fordo nuclear facility. This is the only country with the bunker-busting could destroy it.
A nuclear weapon, too much devastation, and they'd use it. I believe they'd use it. Others won't use it, but I believe they'd use it.
The president is increasingly relying on a small group of advisors for critical input. 2 defense officials and a senior administration official. Includes Vice President Vance, Secretary of State and Interim National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Tell NBC News that Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has been sidelined. In March, Gabbard testified the intelligence community did not believe Iran's supreme leader had authorized the nuclear weapons program.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon,
earning this rare public rebuke.
What she said, I think we were very close to having.
The U.S. CENTCOM commander just warned that if Iran wanted to move forward, it could have enough enriched uranium in roughly a week. Experts say it could then take more than a year to build a nuclear weapon. Tom?
Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. For millions across the eastern part of the country, the weather threat is here. Intense floodwaters blowing out a river in Tennessee. You can see I-40, a major artery through the Smoky Mountains, completely washed out there. Washington, D.C., trees down, power lines spotted sparking. And 53 million are under severe weather alerts tonight, and the bad weather already delaying more than 5,000 flights. Tonight, SpaceX engineers are investigating an explosion involving the company's Starship rocket, the biggest ever built, which NASA and Elon Musk hope will one day fly to the moon and even Mars. It happened during an early morning ground test in Texas. Here's Tom Costello.
I mean, even the other day when they...
Whoa! Whoa!
For SpaceX, yet another spectacular setback. This one caught on camera by space enthusiasts in Texas.
Oh my God.
The uncrewed mega rocket exploding during a static rocket ground test. SpaceX described the explosion as a major anomaly while preparing for a test flight later this month. No injury. Local residents posted on social media that the blast shook their homes. Standing nearly 400 feet tall Starship is critical to NASA's hopes of returning humans to the moon and one day landing on Mars. But this is the fourth explosion so far this year.
There it is. Boom.
In January and March, the rocket came apart minutes after launch. In May, the upper stage made it to space, but then and breaking apart over the Indian Ocean. While astronauts could one day fly on Starship, today's CEO Elon Musk made light of the explosion, posting on X, "Just a scratch." Musk has promised to increase the pace of launch attempts this year.
Each launch is about learning more and more about what's needed to make life multiplanetary.
SpaceX says an initial analysis indicates a potential failure of a pressurized tank which contained gaseous nitrogen in Starship's nose cone. Full review is ongoing. Tom?
An incredible explosion. All right, Tom, we thank you. Now to the ongoing immigration enforcement operations in Los Angeles. After federal agents requested access